Good evening. It's 6 o'clock on Monday, the 4th of September 2017. Welcome and thank you for joining us tonight for the English edition of Aura News, bringing you the day's national top stories translated into English 6 days a week. Despite the Prime Minister's statement that the government will not give funds to the Academy of Sciences if it is not reformatted, the Academy of Sciences today elected its new chairman. 31 members of the Academy voted for the chairman and the vice-chairman. Only one member of the Academy, Mr. Artan Fuga, expressed criticism against the elections, considering them to be false and asking for change in regulation. The Academy of Sciences is considered the most important institution for scientific research in the country. The newly elected chairman of the Academy of Sciences expressed his readiness to cooperate with the Prime Minister, make reforms, and to unite with the Institute of Albinology. However, Prime Minister Edi Rama declared that the government will cut funds to the Academy of Sciences. The Academy chose to continue with their farce, and I hope they manage to find the funds for this. Our funds will instead go to the University for Scientific Research, wrote the Prime Minister on Facebook. The new chairman of the Academy of Sciences will officially start his duty after being decreed by the President of the Republic. The Academy of Sciences is currently funded by the state budget. The annual support given to the Academy is 120 million lek. According to the data, 2/3 of the state support payment is spent for administrative spending, while just 300 million lek are actually used for projects of scientific research. A few days after the murder of the judge, Theresa President of the Republic Ilir Meta has asked the High Council of Justice to verify the decision of Kavaya's judicial body regarding Fadil Qasemi, the former husband and murderer of the judge. Kavaya's judges ordered 3 years in prison for Fadil Qasemi on April 28, 2016, when he first attempted to murder his former wife. But the perpetrator spent only a year and a half in prison before benefiting from the end-of-year amnesty. President Meta asked that in its first meeting, the High Judicial Council report on the procedures that courts follow when an order of defence is issued for a person who is a victim of domestic violence. In a statement issued to the media, President Meta emphasised that during his mandate, he will not exert the right to pardon those who commit domestic crimes. Also, the President calls on the Ministry of Justice not to include those convicted of domestic crimes in the list of those who may benefit from the end-of-year amnesty. Meanwhile, the prosecution has asked that the murderer of the judge undergoes a psychiatric evaluation in order to see his mental condition. The request was made by the prosecution of serious crimes and, in fact, is a practice that is followed in any case of murder. The EU ambassador to our country, Romana Vlahutin, declared today during the meeting of the National Council of Integration that the coming months will be decisive for the opening of negotiations. According to the EU ambassador, the judicial reform is on the right track, with vetting having started. EU membership talks will depend on the implementation of vetting. The coming months will be crucial for the opening of negotiations. It is clear what is expected to happen with the 5 priorities, and especially with all the aspects of the fight against organised crime, including the fight against narcotics. Albania is currently in a strong position. The judicial reform, which is the most complex reform, is now ready to be implemented. The vetting process is the first step, and that is due to start in less than 2 weeks, said Vlahutin. According to the EU ambassador, the membership process and good governance require a high level of technical capacities and dialogue. The membership process is a clear will of those who govern the country. No change can come if we do not understand and address the problems. The real change cannot come by offering half solutions. No private interest can be more important than that of the country. European integration cannot be achieved if the country is not united, declared the EU ambassador. Meanwhile, Socialist MP Taulond Bala expressed the Socialist Party's readiness to bring a new spirit of communication into Parliament and gave assurance that the Socialists are willing to co-govern with the parliamentary opposition for this process. After interrupting the parliamentary life, Mailinda Bregu will no longer be the chairwoman of the National Council of Integration. Mrs. Bregu thanked the cooperators for the work done. The National Council of Integration will organise the summer school for a week. 40 people will be elected to be trained in the process of negotiations with the European Union. The Socialist Movement for Integration today gathered its chairmanship. Petrit Vasili was elected as chairman of the SMI parliamentary group. At the end of the meeting, the vice chairman of the Socialist Movement for Integration, Luan Rama, promised a strong opposition, which, according to him, will make no compromises against the citizens. When asked about the new government, the vice chairman of the SMI had this to say: "Regarding the majority's project for the government and everything else related to organisation, we will express our opinion when the constitutional time comes, or when we have a constitutional obligation to make a decision whether we will vote for them or not." The Institute of Statistics has publicised some data relating to construction costs. During the first 6 months of 2017, the costs for construction have increased, but the prices of houses have decreased significantly when compared to the same period a year ago. Data from the Institute of Statistics show that expenditure for construction materials increased by 1.6% compared to the same period a year ago, resulting in an increase on construction cost. Meanwhile, data from the Bank of Albania on the price index for houses shows a reduction of 11% in the housing price in the second quarter of this year. According to the connoisseurs of the construction market, the decreased price of houses is largely due to the high number of newly established buildings, especially in the capital. It was evaluated that the increased cost of construction has little impact on the final price of apartments. Data from the Institute of Statistics show that the number of requests for rented houses has increased in the first few months of the year, and a trend that started in the third quarter of 2016. According to the data from the Bank of Albania, the price of houses has increased for 2 quarters in a row, respectively by 11.3% and 5.2% compared to the same period a year ago. The experts consider the data to be positive for the construction sector, which is now seeing an improvement after the blocking of construction permits. On the first anniversary of Mother Teresa's beatification, Tirana's Mayor, Arion Villiai, awarded 2 foundations that help children with the Mother Teresa Medal. During his speech, the Mayor praised the contribution of the charity organisations, which have helped the needy, orphans and homeless children. "I'm happy that on the day of the anniversary of Mother Teresa's beatification, we are honouring 2 organisations whose teams do an excellent job. The organisations belong to 2 different religious beliefs, but each of them manages to find a way to solve problems," declared the Mayor. Mr. Villiai went on to add that awarding 2 organisations of different religious beliefs helps us to remember that there are more things that unite us than those that separate us. The Mayor appealed for more cooperation and invited citizens to contribute and help the needy. "My call for citizens is that instead of contributing to a toxic environment with virtual poison in social networks, let's do what these 2 organisations are doing. Let's find ways to help people," declared the Mayor. Mr. Villiai invited citizens to invest their energy in cooperating, doing good things and charity. That's all for our English edition this evening. My name is Alexandra. Please join me again Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. for your local news in English. On behalf of Aura News, thank you and good night.